and welcome to the Same Things Stop Discussing Hour, where we will be talking about the tropics and any other storms that are about across the world. So we have got Jesper this evening, and we have got Adam as well. And let's start with newly formed Tropical Depression 3. So Jesper, would you like to speak to us?
Yes, as of today, the first advisory on the newly formed Tropical Depression 3 we have here in just under the Gulf of Mexico, and here is the latest forecast track from the official NHC website, and it's currently a winds of 35 miles per hour, moving north at the moment at 9 miles an hour. Speed up quite a bit since we have an intermediate advisory 1A, just a bit of a short update, and that is speed up a bit and is heading forecasted to head towards Florida and very shortly to become a tropical storm now in the coming hours. And the forecast in the intensity, I think it should be, let's see if I can bring that up. Forecast advisory, and does say up to 50 knots of winds and gusting to 60. That will be the peak according to the NHC, and that will be pretty much the highest intensity will be somewhere around the landfall area in Florida. And we can look at the satellite imagery of the storm, and here's the center, still exposed center, and as of right now as we speak, we have an aircraft reconnaissance mission in the storm currently measuring and having drop sounds in the area. The pressure was estimated at 1,005 millibars, and currently the aircraft measurements have been estimated at around 1,006 millibars, so around that general area, which is enough to sustain tropical storm. But right now this aircraft just flew into the storm, so we should have more data as it comes in. Let's see if we can bring up the infrared, because there you can see how the storm has been flaring up the last few hours. And particularly on the eastern side, you can see cold cloud tops, some areas that have been close to minus 80, or but mainly minus 70 or minus 75. And you wouldn't know where the center is if we would tell you, but it's right here at the moment, which is not too good environment. And there is shear coming in here in the Gulf of Mexico, which is it's a bit of causing elongated storm, which most of the convection is to the east of the center, which is very usual for these June type storms, when you have a storm coming up from the Caribbean and goes into the Gulf of Mexico, and another low is usually over the south, over the New Orleans or Texas area, which we currently have, and where a cold front is steering these systems towards the Florida coast. So yeah,
I think so.
What do you think, Lee, about this?
I think it's going to be similar to Tropical Storm Andrea from 2013. I definitely agreed with what you said earlier on, Jesper, on that side of things. I think it could become either a moderate strong tropical storm within the next few days or so. What do you think? Has it tracked going forward?
Yeah, depending on how much shear this system gets, I wouldn't count on it being more stronger than 65 miles an hour or so, but maybe 50 or so would be. But nonetheless, the biggest concern is, in fact, the amount of rain on the system, and of course most of the convection will stay to the east of the center, and that in fact is in the Florida side of the storm. So so that will be the biggest concern right now, as well as the NHC has put out some the tornado watches there, because that is likely to occur associated with this system as it comes ashore.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Some storms will produce water spouts and tornadoes, so I would not be surprised to see a water spout or two around Miami and southern Florida. So,
So here is the 72-hour forecast, 1 to 3 day rainfall totals. As you can see, there is around where the system is forecasted to make landfall, a little bit further to the northwest here. That is around this area, and where we could be looking at possibly 4 to 6 inches of rain here close to the coast, and more inland we're looking at 2 to 4 inches of rain. But yeah, and also we could less rain in the southern region, but it is this general pass coast to the coast in Florida. So this should be monitored, and I think people should be looking to this now, and to the tropical storm warnings have been issued. These are along the coast of Florida, which you can see here in blue. And those are all the warnings that have tropical storm force warnings, and that means that the tropical storm force is expected within 48 hours time, which is very likely to occur now. And as we can see with the track forecasted by the NHC, it is indeed very similar to Tropical Storm Andrea in 2013. Whether it will be the same intensity or not, remains to be determined, but I guess it will be pretty similar in terms of storm track and everything. And so if you was around with that storm, you kind of know what to expect if you was around then. But remember, all these storms are different.
Oh, they're all different in many ways. So many ways.
And here's the wind map on the earthnullschool.net. And as you can see, here is the center of circulation picked up, and where the aircraft hurricane hunters currently are in and investigating. And as you can see, the strongest of winds are to the east side of the center, coming up here. So the strongest winds will possibly occur in the along the coast in a broad region. So it won't be just around the eye wall, but it will be very, very elongated. And,
so you're basically talking about a bigger wind field rather than
bigger wind field.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's another look at higher latitude in the higher height, 850 millibars. And as you can see, there is, of course, the dry section where the most of the wind shear is. I will look into that. Let's see if I can. Yes, here. No, that's not available, but anyway. And right where the center is, there are pretty high wind shear, around 40 knots or even higher. so that is not very good for the storm at the moment. But at some spots closer to the south, there is lower amounts of shear, and that is why we have seen the convection building up here today. That is allowing that convection to happen. Otherwise, the shear would just blow off the tops of those thunderstorms and would not be developing. And we can already see as well as this cold front associated with a low closer to high to the north, starting to steer the system towards the northeast. So it's very possible to end up around this general area in the Florida coast. But remember, even though the center of the storm will make landfall in this region, it is basically the whole of Florida will be receiving rain, but the strongest of winds will be in this general area in the along the coast. So I wouldn't be the biggest concern would now be in terms of rainfall and not wind, even though it could be storm surge as well. I think it was 1, 2, 3 feet or so. I think the energy forecasted. Let's see if we can just, yeah, here we go. Tampa Bay, South Florida, around 1 to 2 feet. If the peak high tide occurs at the same time as the landfall occurs. So this is the totals we could be looking at. So close to Tampa Bay, which Tampa Bay is already also a very vulnerable place for storm surge. So I recommend people not stay close to there and be just inland if something was to occur in terms of storm surge as well with that rainfall. So here is the 850 millibar vorticity, and the higher amounts of vorticity, and the more reddish it is, the more spin it has in the storm. And as we can see here, it has increased quite a lot in the last couple of hours. So the spin has definitely picked up, which the energy has surely puts out in the. That's why they designated a tropical depression today, because yesterday did not have that quite a good spin to it, and that was probably why they did not issue a tropical depression as of yet. But today we have that.
There was certainly no investigation yesterday either from the hurricane hunters as well, so I was wondering if they were maybe thinking along the same lines.
You see sea surface temperatures values, and right around 29 degrees Celsius, around where tropical depression 3 is, soon to become tropical storm Colin, if the forecast is correct.
It's actually well to the west compared to what Adam was saying over previous days. You thought it was further down, you thought it was...
Well, yeah, that's probably why, with these storms, it does not have a low-level circulation at the moment. You have a hard time picking out where it is, and you end up assuming that the center is along with the convection, but the center is right here, and the convection is to the east of the storm, which we also saw with the tropical storm Andrea. It's very usual for these type of storm to be be more formed like an extratropical storm, to be honest, that have a dry center and a wet east part in this case. So
yeah. So as we know at the moment, we are waiting on further information from the Redicon's Hurricane Hunters Point. So we will come back to this storm if we hear any more information. I'd like us to look at the other two invests over the Eastern Pacific, because we've now got 91E and 92E, so we've now got two areas of interest across the Eastern Pacific.
Yep, we have two areas of interest, and we begin with this one, which is currently designated as, I think, is it?
They're both at 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, the 91E, and we also have a 92E, which is closer to the Mexican coast, but we begin with 91E. And here's the floater on that one. And yeah, it does have circulation in it, which I will show soon in the visible. It's flaring up here and there, but overall it is not in a good environment because of dry air and a bit of a sheary environment. It is still possible that it could develop later on, but as of right now, the chances are pretty slim, because the chances are down to 20%. From the NHC outlook, and at the few days ago it was up to 70% and then 90% in the next 5 days. So it has gone down since then, and that is due to that the environment is not good for development.
It's very bad currently. So I'm actually changing what I said yesterday. I don't think it'll form at all now, actually. I think it will eventually dissipate away to the west.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at right now on these.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it won't even come to anything. I think it'll just dissipate. Here
you can see the visible satellite on the 91E. And of course, you can see it's partially exposed center of circulation. You can just see these dry clouds and just the overall convection to the west of it, and really nothing to it at the moment. I can understand them putting it down to 20%. I agree with them on that.
I do agree with them, yeah.
As well, we have another one, which is called 92E. Has been around for about a day now, I think. Which has remained at 20% in the next 48 hours, and the next 5 days at 30%.
I think 92's got a slightly better chance of development because of how far east it is compared to 91E, but I'll need to check. We'll need to see the winds here, where 92E is.
Yeah, I would say just from moisture alone, I would say that 92E is in a better environment for development, which can see has a 30% chance of development in the next 5 days, and has an outlook to move pretty slowly into the South Mexican coast, and some of the models has come out with their forecast on this system and where it will be likely to track, but as of right now, it's the chance is looking slim that it could not develop into anything significant and just be an invest that makes landfall and dissipates in the over land here. And there are some models picking it up. They could enter into the Gulf of Mexico because all of the moisture gets pulled in by the jet stream into the Gulf of Mexico. But we'll see what happens with this system. We'll keep you updated on it.
Yes, we'll certainly keep you up to date with the both systems out there as well. I do think the Eastern Pacific will have many invests like this over the year, but it won't develop them as well as it did last year.
Mm.
But I do think the Atlantic will produce much better activity this year. I think there'll be quite a few hurricanes in a couple of majors. There you go, Jeff.
Yeah, and we as well have 92W, although this system
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot about that.
this system is likely to not develop, and as of right now, we do not have a lot of say on it, just because the models do not have it or designate it as a tropical system at the moment. So does not have any model runs to show on it.
Did I have a look at the wind shear above that system?
Yeah, just
to see what the wind shear's like.
Goes back that up. It is where is it? I'm gonna need to that should be 160 degrees. Okay, around here.
Okay.
So maybe so. Yeah, at the moment it is.
It's looking very disorganized.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's very disorganized at the moment. That's holding it back.
Yeah. Oh, so that's it. Yeah, right. So wind shear's quite high round about it just now.
Yeah, around it.
Which is a problem for development at the moment. But if it moves west and gets into that much lighter wind shear, then I do think it will have a chance of development.
Mm. And if there are any Filipino waters here, Filipino waters, I've seen some wondering what this system is, but this has been spinning up, but that is currently just a every so often you kind of have these loop eddies breaking off the jet stream. So even though it looks like it has a low-level circular, not having, and it's just in the upper part of the atmosphere that's spinning up. And how we can see that is because the wind shear I lost it, I think. See, there we go. Here you can see how it's low shear around it, but it's where it is. It's currently high amounts of shear, and that suggests that it is just a upper level. Yeah, just a spinning upper level thingy. I wouldn't call it even a low pressure.
It could be an upper low.
Because at 850 millibar vorticity, it doesn't have any spin at all, which you even see on extratropical storms, but this does not have that. So
at the moment, it's really just a mess at the moment. Viewers. So we'll need to wait and see what happens during the next few days or so. Hopefully it'll get into a better environment for a possible development into a West Pacific tropical storm. I'm going to say about a tropical storm if it can get itself into a better environment.
Yeah.
So I'd like us to look at the Australian situation. I know David's not here at the moment, but I would like us just to see what's happening there, as we know a lot of flooding has occurred along the east coast of Australia. in recent days.
Yes, indeed it has, and I would say right now that the worst of it has passed, and
Yes.
the low pressure system have pulled away mostly from Australia now, and it's not looking as good as it was yesterday. But here you can still see the center of circulation on this extratropical storm. There was going on along the coast. Strong winds onshore here, which we almost saw 60-mile-an-hour winds from that. It was quite a big system as well, with some intense thunderstorms. From all that moisture that it pulled in from the equator. So it's a infrared spectrum from the Himalaya satellites, and as you can see, it has been progressing today over a few-hour period, and looking like the most of it is over Tasmania still, but seems to be more dry air coming in where it was before.
So it's looking as if conditions are improving now for Eastern Australia now, after some serious floods during the last few days. So there is some good news here for Eastern Australia. That system will now move south and possibly impact New Zealand next as a windstorm. So, but as of Australia, the conditions are improving. But
before we check that, I just want to see in a model run on the system to see if there are any interest of where it's going to go. It's going to still pull slowly southward and deepen a bit, but most of the rain will still stay in Tasmania, which it's almost stalls over there, yeah. But it seems to be fizzling out over that time period. So, but as we know, with the gesture is strong, so could have more lows coming in. Another one later on over the southern Australia and also Tasmania.
Yeah, but it also looks as if it is approaching New Zealand, but it is on a weekend trend. There will be a bit of rain for the North and South Islands, but nothing to the severity that it did over Australia.
Yeah. You can see the vorticity, which is quite high, and no surprises there, going from the extratropical storm that have a high rotation on them, especially now with this one, which has the low level circulation around here. So yeah, that will track downwards, and I think in terms of New Zealand, I don't think they will have any problems in terms of.
I don't think so.
No.
It'll rain in New Zealand, but I don't think they'll have it as bad as what Australia had. Because it's now winter now in the southern hemisphere. So I do think New Zealand will get some winter rain, but that's about it.
And at the tail end of this low pressure system, notice some convection up here in the this area. So they in Vanuatu, so they should have some intense thunderstorms activity, and they should have some minor flooding maybe, but I'm not sure about that. It's just my guess, which has been going on a bit now because the end tail of this has basically been around this area.
So yes, indeed, absolutely.
Here's another look at it. Here's the center of circulation. And, most of the cloud cover and the rain is to the south of it. And here is Tasmania, and here is New Zealand. And as you can see, there's mostly dry air now getting pulled in. So that's good news for those living along the coast there.
Yeah, very good news for the eastern half of Australia there. That means that clearing up situation can get underway. But we will get further news from David later on and how things are. Yeah,
it should be whenever he comes on.
Well. Yeah. So back to the new tropical depression 3.
Yes, and how the model run's looking now. Looking at the global main ones, which is the ECMWF, GFS, CMC, NavGem, and JMA. We'll begin with the GFS, which currently have it at 1005 millibars. And as you can see, as we've been discussing, most of the convection is to the east of the storm. Currently not too much of it in the land area, but it has been some intense thunderstorm activity over here. I've seen that today with the radar. But anyway, continuing forward, it is forecasted to move firstly a bit more to the north, according to this, intensifying a bit to or deepening to 1004 millibars, starting to get steered in by this extratropical storms cold front, and will continue in the northeast path, and the convection will try to wrap around the center, but we indeed still have a dry area that will be exposed to the west of the center, and all of the storm activity and the convection will stay to the east of the storm over Florida. And here's the next frame, intensifying more, let's see, 1003 millibars. And then right around here is, or even stronger, that's come up into the next frame, would be the peak. And the red one here, it will start to accelerate as it gets absorbed by both the jet stream and the cold front, and by this point it will just be carried off over the Florida region, and will make landfall somewhere here in northwestern Florida coast. So the people living here, but remember, even though this is most of the rainfall will be indeed in this general region, it is a big part of Florida that will receive tropical moisture, and that will be much rainfall that will occur.
Well, I'm deeply concerned for Florida, as there will be some serious floods from Colin when it does become a tropical storm. I think it'll be nearly on the same levels as what Texas have experienced in the past week or so. So I'm deeply concerned over that. So I really hope people are preparing for a tropical storm, even though it's still a tropical depression at this time.
Yeah. And here's the ECMWF model, which is currently popular by many, and is a very great model to forecasting the Atlantic storms. And has a general the same type of path as the GFS, and intensifying a bit down to 1003 millibars. And it's hard to see because they only have a frame by frame every 24 hours, but it will occur around the same area as the GFS will be the northern Florida, and comes out of the other side of Florida, which is in fact the around the same area that just had the tropical storm Bonnie not too long ago, which killed 2 people. So that will probably bring some other rainfall. But by this time, I would think that most of the system has speed up a bit, so I don't think they will really stall that much. So I don't think the rainfall will be too much around that.
It won't be as bad as what it's going to be over Florida, I think. I think Florida will get a heavy pattern by then. Possibly some thunderstorms as well, as Florida is the lightning capital of America. So,
Next model, CMC. Just take a look at that, what they think. In terms of path, they are a bit more to the north and will strike Florida much more closer inland as well, but will be around the same intensity as the other models, probably a little bit stronger, knowing the CMC and the convection and the rainfall totals will be just a bit more, but around the same intensity. And in the next frame, they predict a intense rainfall coast here, but we'll wait for that to see if that really is the case.
Hello.
Hello, welcome
hello.
back to the show, Adam.
Hi.
Would you like to give your thoughts on the Tropical Depression 3?
Yes. Just give me 2 seconds and I'll get that up for you.
Right.
Just want to show quickly the navigem as well.
Yeah.
In terms of path, they are just a hair bit more to the northwest than the GFS and the CMWF, but around the same area. And basically all of the models, I would say 80 or 90% is having it almost the same area as each other. So which we will look into right here, which is hard to see, but anyway, here is many of the models, more than 10 of them, and almost all of them except 2 or 3 here in the making landfall more in the middle part of Florida, but most of them are taking a path very similar to Tropical Storm Andrea in 2013.
All right.
Okay, Adam.
What I can say is that the reconnaissance mission has shown us that whatever circulation they have been flying in so far is very weak and somewhat disorganized.
I wonder if they've undergone
They haven't even hit the center of the system yet. So it's just a wait and see. It'll take a little while longer. There are some decent amount of convection to the east and southeast of the system, covering a good portion of the Northwest Caribbean. That area, I suspect we might even find some decent tropical storm force winds, possibly. If not, then at the very most, a strong tropical depression force winds, upper 30s. But yeah, so it's just a wait and see game. Watch what the recon.
I guess the wrong place, Adam. I guess they're actually flying through the wrong bit.
Well, with weak systems, they do tend to have within the broad circulation, within this broad low pressure circulation, we could have multiple spins. You know, we could have this main spin where they're currently centering the system at, which is away from all the deep convection. And then we could also have another one that's underneath that deep convection. So it's just a matter of seeing whichever center, if there is multiple centers, where are they? So The one that's just offset to the west of the convection is fairly decent, but low-level porosity maps at pretty much most of the levels do agree that if there is any circulation, or at least developing new circulation, it would be offset. It would be placed eastwards underneath that deep convection. I also want to point that the upper level anticyclone has indeed developed near the system. It's actually right on top of where the heaviest convection is at the moment, and it is blowing a good fair 20-30 knots over the exposed center that's out there near the Yucatan. So it's just a wait and see game, really.
And I'm still reckoning it will become a tropical storm before
Oh yeah, I
reaches
definitely
Florida.
think
I think
there's a chance for that.
I think the planes still got a wee bit of work to do to.
Oh yeah, they just arrived basically. They
So
usually
they-
are. They just arrived basically. They usually are in there up to 4 hours or more.
Yeah, so it's probably just the early part of the listen.
I mean, as I said, they haven't even gone for the first pass into the system. They're on the way, but they're not in it yet. So it's just a matter of wait and see.
Yes, we'll need to wait and see what happens over the next few days or so, and see what the plane discovers within its further mission. And Adam, we also have Indes 92E there as well. That was tagged.
Yes,
as
I
I
did
thought
see
it would be. Yeah.
I did see that. I'm not expecting anything from it. It will make landfall and it will just dissipate. It's a non-issue.
Yeah, I think so. I just thought I'd see if you knew about it. So.
Yep.
That's all good. So, what screen shared you then, Jesper?
Yeah, interact advisory, and as you guys can see, here is the where the center is forecasted to come ashore. But as you can see with this blue or purple line here, there's along this whole area is where the tropical storm force warnings are likely to occur. So they are likely to occur within that region there. So people along the coast should at least secure your boats if there are within.
I do want to point out that the system is expected to remain pretty lopsided, where most of the heaviest stuff will be to the southeast of the actual center of the storm. So, so there won't be too much problems on the north side, but on the west central and maybe even southwestern coast of Florida, we'll be seeing the biggest amount of impacts from the storm.
Yeah, I explained this to the viewers and Lee when you were gone, that usually with these June storms, you usually have a extratropical low pressure over the U.S., usually over Texas, and then you got this Caribbean storm coming up through the coast, and then because of that shear and all the dry air impacting it from the west, they usually have that, kind of extratropical
we call it
structure.
We call it shape.
Yeah, exactly. So we saw that with at least 3 storms in the past. So they're usually within, and also we usually expect this type of tracks in June as well, where they come from the Caribbean impacts the Yucatan or moves between the Yucatan and Cuba. So and then moves out through the coast of Florida. So, let's see when we expect the next fall advisory. That will be 4 p.m. CDT. I'm not sure about that time zone.
It should be up by about 5 EDT. Right. So I just want to quickly say it believes that the Hurricane Recon aircraft has indeed found what is to believe to be a very, very weak spin, very weak circulation. Still waiting if they will put a vortex message in that, and we'll get the center. But it's very weak. As a matter of fact, I would say it's so weak. I wouldn't be surprised if this particular center dies off and and a new one relocates further southeast. So that's something that we're keeping an eye on.
So there's a good chance they could take this off of the tropical depression off of the system until we see.
No. Still keeping it a tropical depression. We could have tropical depressions with center relocations. It's
right, okay.
that's not really much of a problem. But anyway, I'll be off for now. I'm still watching the Hurricane Recon mission, and
The show ends very shortly anyway.
Probably be back on again, just updating to see how it's doing.
Just to let you know, Adam, the time you come back on, the show will have finished, so and it's all good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So so I'm off to finish watching the Recon mission. I also just want to point out quickly that looking at the new updated vorticity maps at all levels, they show the center point of the vorticity to actually be more further east between the Yucatan and Cuba, passing through the Yucatan Channel. So we'll wait and see if this thing dies. If that's forms further southeast, well then that'll be interesting. And if that does happen, that will definitely change the ball game here when we look at the exact location where we could be seeing future tropical storm call in to make landfall. We, as one of you guys showed up earlier with the forecast models, we could see these models jump up and down until we get ourselves a really concrete, organized system. So it's just right now it's just a wait and see, but it definitely is going to be impacting Florida. Just basically anyone in that cone, and also just south of that cone, needs to keep a close eye on it. Either way, I'd say from the Florida Keys upwards to Jacksonville, really needs to watch it closely. So, yeah. But either way, no matter what this storm does, you're still going to get rainy, stormy conditions. You're going to get, going to find yourselves with a bit of rainfall, a little bit of storm surge. Wind is not going to be too much of an issue. I mean, still a 50, 60 mile an hour tropical storm can do a fair bit of damage. But main issue, rainfall and storm surge.
Thank you very much, Adam, for your input on tropical depression 3L. So we've got just under 8 minutes or so to go. I'm just going to say about the Twitter, the Facebook. There's also the viewers. Now to keep up to date with Flow 13 for all the general social media, the Facebook, Twitter.
Hey, I'm here in the background, by the way.
I
Just
know.
want to also mention something else we've made public today. The upcoming Hurricane Week 2016. The page is now online, and you'll be very intrigued to know what's on it. There's going to be a promotional video coming up about that very soon. You can take a look for yourself, but until you look at it, I'm going to keep it under wraps on here.
Okay. I'll sit with a look after the show.
Here's another. Here's another look at the moisture. You can clearly see how this associated with the jet stream, how that's in the trough, and that cold front is pulling to the north, and it's not locked in the system yet, but I think it will be, because you can see how it's getting almost stretched up to the north here, which is indicating that it's starting to get pulled and starting to go on the north or northeast turn. So yeah, that's the situation right now.
That's conditions for Tropical Depression 3 at the moment. Also, the other interests, Eastern Pacific aren't going to form too much as of at the moment. So we don't really need to continue with them. The Tropical Depression body, which has kind of dissipated away now, is possibly going to be absorbed by an extratropical low in the central Atlantic very soon as well.
Yep.
They'll start.
Let's see if I can. Yeah, like Adam said, it is hard to pick out any low-level circulation because they usually spin quite fast to make it out. But they will start to spin up, and it looks like this central circulation could be more to the east than what the NHC is picking it out to be. But I think it's still organizing itself just a bit more. So the convection is there, and we're just now waiting for the if this is going to be a tropical storm or not. But regardless if it becomes a tropical storm or not, which is by the way is very likely to be right now, I wouldn't are the biggest concern, because this is indeed a tropical system, and that will be with this when they are below hurricane strength. The biggest threat is usually rainfall and not the winds.
Yeah, so I would say regardless, especially what Jess was just mentioned there, regardless of this system becoming a tropical storm or not, it's still going to cause very kind of life-threatening rains there in Florida. So I would urge all Florida people there to prepare for this system as soon as possible, because this storm may impact Florida the next few days or so.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I think that concludes today's show. Tropical Depression 3L is active, and we'll be keeping on top of it throughout the evening. We may have more discussion later on, but we will definitely have discussion at midnight UTC tonight. That will be the next scheduled one, but we may have some unscheduled stuff going on beforehand, and of course we'll bring any breaking news to you live. as it happens. Stay tuned, and we'll return you to the Force 13 garden as a day draws to a close. A very hot one here at Force 13 HQ, and another one in store tomorrow.